few things to talk about. I want to talk about the young players in a moment and kind of development of young players and seeing a young kid come off the bench and scoring the other day. But I guess we have to start with goals that you've been conceding. You were very
Yep.
cross after the game the other night, and you said the other night you didn't. You hadn't worked out quite how to stop it. I wonder if you've come to any conclusions in the last few days as to how you're going to attack this problem and how you're going to be able to find a way through it.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, first of all, I don't, uh, I don't want um, the message to be blurred. Like I haven't tried anything, and I'm just like, do you get what I mean? Like I don't know what's going on. I've not tried anything. I'll think about it. What I'm really getting at is that the problems have been there, and there's been a huge effort to try to eradicate some of the mistakes that are occurring, and ultimately it comes down to concentration because the players are good enough, but we're showing lapses of concentration in key moments, and that's costing us. And so I feel like I'm trying to give the guys as many angles of approach, you know, from training sessions to to video sessions to individual conversations with myself and unit meetings with a group of players that are all going to be involved in potential, these potential problems at the back of the pitch. So yeah, we are still disappointingly we're still showing some problems focusing and concentrating throughout the entire game, and I think it's something if we can get to grips with, we can have a positive season, because I don't think we're too far away from being able to do very well. But if we don't find that solution and we don't step up, then we're not going to have quite the season that we want to have. And I'm not saying that we won't be successful, and I know that might sound horrifying, that I'm still not going to be happy even if we're but I don't want to be in any way lucky, or I don't want to be in any way too blinded by results, more by the performance, because I think if I can make sure that I get that right, then the results will follow, and they'll follow in terms of a long period of winning, which we've seen before at the club. But at the moment, I don't like to win and then lose and then win and then lose. It's just not something that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, you've always said that the way that you play is kind of high risk, high reward. Is this just in some ways, a natural consequence of that there is the risk of this happening, or is it? I mean, I've seen the goals. Obviously, you have that they're avoidable, but I just wonder whether it's kind of just sometimes that is going to happen, but it's just happening too much, or what?
Yeah, I think a mistake, like for example, the first goal, the pitch is probably quite firm because of the cold weather, and Aidan Baldwin has the correct footwear on, which was the first thing. I've been quite clear since I've been here about those type of details, and the players understand. And okay, he loses his footing and he slips, and so I can take that, and then if we win the game 2-1, it's something that I'm prepared to accept. But then another two goals that are totally avoidable, and I don't see a risk in those two actions, because we are first to the ball. There is not a huge danger. The opposition are not doing something so difficult to deal with that players are getting moved around, and we're seeing individuals with a really high level of individual skill that can unlock you. Those sort of things, again, I can accept, but just to make a really poor decision that is so costly, I can't accept. So, I mean, I personally don't see as much risk as maybe we see from people see from the outside. I mean, we were very tight at the back last season. I think so many of the goals that we've conceded this season have been completely avoidable. And I'm not talking about they're avoidable if somebody does something incredible to get us out of trouble. I'm talking about they're avoidable if we don't make really, really terribly poor decisions and lose concentration. Avoidable in that way, and that's very different. And we've showed that we can score as a team. We can score goals quite comfortably at the level. But as a team, we can't avoid big errors that lead to us conceding, and that's just something that we have to deal with.
People will look and say, well, look, January's only a few weeks away. Is that on your mind? Is that on the club's mind? That maybe, I know you've said players are good enough and capable of doing this and it's just down to concentration, but if it doesn't improve and the goals you're conceding are jeopardising things at the moment, is that something that's kind of being thought about at the moment of improving around that area?
I think it is, yeah, because in this game you only get so many chances, no? And I should think that there will be a list of players that the club are very interested in and feel that they may be able to come in and improve our performance from day one. And if we're ambitious enough, then that's what will happen.
The other thing we saw the other night was the introduction of a young lad, 17 years old, and gets on the score sheet. I just wonder what that does, not just for him, but I guess kind of for the club, to see a young lad coming through an academy. And obviously with Notts having been out of the Football League, there's been the academy's obviously lacked funding, and there's been all of that whole thing going on. So what good does it do for the club to see a 17-year-old get through and play and score for the first team?
I think it's got to be a huge benefit to the club, because I think young players now will start to look at Notts as a club where they might have a really bright future, a club where you can actually get a chance to progress through the ranks and arrive in the first team and be successful. So the credit is all with the people in the academy, with Dan Levers and his staff, because they've just been incredibly supportive of myself, and they have so much passion for the club first, and for football in general. And I've just had an incredibly good experience working with these people, and I love to see them at the training ground, and they, from time to time, they come to see me in the office. I'll be honest, I try to stay a bit away, keep my distance from the academy, because I don't like to try to overpower anyone. I think that there's so much knowledge in the academy and so many good coaches that are more capable than I am of knowing what they're looking at with the young players. So I'm there if they need me, and I try to show them my support as much as I can. And I think putting the players in the team and taking them off the bench and putting them on the pitch is the biggest support they can have. But no, they've done an incredibly good job, and I'm very proud of these people. And now we've seen another young player come on and take the opportunity and scored a really good goal. So I'm very excited about what he could do in the future for us.
I guess because of the owners and what they do and the football radar, and a lot of the talk since they came in has been about recruitment. I wonder if you can give us an idea behind the scenes how much focus there also is on that side of it, of actually development of young players as well, and not just all about bringing players in from outside.
No, that's an interesting question, and I think really the owners will have a model that they use to try to evaluate players that are already playing competitive football, and they're incredibly sophisticated. They're able to try and find players that maybe are not really obvious ones, because the obvious ones tend the price to go very, very high very quickly. But if you can find the players that have got the ability to perform to a really high level, but maybe not quite flagged by every single recruitment team out there, then you're doing something really special. But in terms of the academy players, because they don't have the data to analyse their true performance at first team level, it really comes down to the staff in the academy. They're the ones that are able to identify the players and try to make a pathway for them, and they're the ones that are giving them, the coaching sessions and the support that they need to try to come through and shine in first team training, and then have the tools to go on and deal with playing in first team football. And all the credit has to go there. And yes, we have incredibly good owners, and we know that we're very fortunate to have owners that are so involved and have such a key role in recruitment. But in terms of these young players, it is down to the people in the academy, and it's all the leadership of Dan Levers and what he's able to do with his staff.
And for young James himself, what happens with him now, and how much can he benefit? I can't help but think of someone like David McGoldrick, who of course did the same thing at about the same age, breaking into the first team. How much can he benefit from that kind of experience, and what does he do now in the coming weeks and months?
Yeah, I mean, look at that, having David McGoldrick and James on the same training pitch in the same changing room. It really is what a club is about now. I think every single fan, however big your club is, of course, like a glamorous signing, there's somebody who's been there and done it and proved their quality, but then to have a young player come through the ranks as well is incredible. And somehow, I don't know how we've pulled off the trick of having David McGoldrick as the stellar signing, glamorous player who's done everything at every level pretty much, and he's come back to where he began, and now he's in the changing room with a young guy starting that journey. So I think it can only be of huge benefit to him, and he's come into first team training. He's equipped himself brilliantly. He's been brave. He's been able to hold his own in training. He's earned the trust of myself to give him an opportunity to come on the pitch. And then he's gone another step further and taken the opportunity. So it really is dreamland stuff, for a football club in general, and for the young players as well.
Just finally, for this weekend, I just wonder whether you'd prefer, let's say, a 1-0, just so you can kind of have that clean sheet that you've been craving. Would you take that over something like, I don't know, a 5-2, or what? Which would you rather this weekend if I gave you the choice of both?
Well, that's a really interesting one. That is a really interesting one. And do you know what? Honestly, can I tell you the honest answer is, it's the way. And what I mean by that is, to concede like a free kick that is struck incredibly well, a high level of quality and precision, then you can accept that goal that can happen. It's goals that go in through, the structure of the way you play. Everything is in place for you to cope with an attack and to deal with it effectively, and to not do that. So I'm sorry that the answer is not like the most obvious one, but I would love to see us score 5 wonderful team goals. And if we're going to concede any, I want to concede only a goal that I have to go, yeah, well done, that was incredible. I don't want to concede a goal that leaves me at my wit's end, so sorry to give a boring and kill the question, but somewhere in between, yeah. 3-0.
Luke, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your questions.
Hi there, Luke. Firstly, how's preparations been this week? No game midweek, so yeah, how's it been going?
Well, preparations really are beginning today, because the schedule was very heavy. We had a recovery on Saturday, and some players in training as well that didn't have the match minutes. But the players have had some time to recover. We have a lot of sore bodies, and so preparations begin today, and everything is prepared. The staff have been preparing everything for the players. The players will arrive shortly, and we'll have our first training and analysis to get us ready for the weekend. Yeah.
Still quite a few days till the game, but what can the neutral expect from a game like this?
I think we've seen that the level is very competitive, so that they should see expect to see a re-energised county team, you know, and playing the best version of football that we can play. That's what they should expect. That's what I expect from us. And like I say, we're gonna be gearing up to give a great performance starting today.
And they're playing tonight. I presume that they'll be playing a weaker squad or a switched up squad for that. Do you still expect some tired legs from them on the weekend, or do you think that it's few and far between?
I think they didn't play the weekend.
Yeah, it's just
so
it's the rearranged games tonight.
Yeah, so I think they'll be okay. You know, I think they've had a weekend to recover, and they'll play. And if they play a mixed group, I don't know, but if they do, then they'll be very fresh for the weekend. So I don't think we should expect a tired group of players coming to play against us. So no, I think we have to be ready for a competitive team with energy in their legs, and you know, we don't expect anything less. We don't want to prepare. We think it's going to be easy, or the opposition are going to be tired. So no, I don't expect that.
And lastly, in terms of the lapse in concentration that you're on about, do you think that that's something that will just come over time, or is that something that you preferably want to see imminently?
Well, my preference is that we see you know, an increased level of concentration and focus, and we don't see too many avoidable errors. And you know, ultimately, if we cannot get to that level, then you know, there'll be a change, and that's football. You know, that's the. But I'm certainly not going to try to cover up or make excuses for what I'm seeing in front of me, and I think that everyone can see, and that's the reality. Is that I think much of our play is excellent, and I think some of our play is lacking focus and concentration, and that could take us to a different level.